Good morning to my students. So now we are going to tackle about covalent bond. I know I already sent a soft copy or a hand module about this one, but I would just like to discuss this one further. So these are our learning points. First, we have to state which types of elements covalent bonds can exist between. Second, describe what happens to electrons when a covalent bond is formed. Then, explain some key properties of simple covalent substances. Okay, so covalent bonds form in most non-metal elements and in compounds formed between non-metals. So for this one, atong ionic compound, it is strictly between metal and non-metal. On the other hand, when we say covalent bond, it is formed between two non-metals and this time strictly two non-metals. So ang non-metals can be found on the right-hand side of the periodic table. There is start kang boron, and then carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, He, or helium. So these are examples of covalent molecules. Some are elements, substance made of the same type of atom, and some are compounds or the substance made of two or more types of atoms. Kung musulti kitay molecules, it can be the same type of molecules like hydrogen bonded with hydrogen and then chlorine bonded with chlorine. On the other hand, when we say compound or compounds, it is between two different elements. Like for example, the bond between the water for hydrogen and oxygen. But before anything else, let's review what are covalent bonds. A covalent bond is formed when two atoms share a pair of electrons. The electrons which contribute towards a covalent bond are found in the outer shells of the atoms. Usually, each atom contributes one electron, but some atoms can react to make multiple covalent bonds. So, covalent bond I will give highlight to the word share. So, tigani kita sharing of electrons, that is for covalent bond. On the other hand, when we say transferring of electrons, that is for ionic bond. Okay? Transferring, it is for ionic bond. Sharing, it is for covalent bond. So, the electrons which contribute towards a covalent bond are found in the outer shells of the atom. So same with ionic bond, the outer shells or the outer electrons or the valence electrons kay amulat gihapon siya ang mag fill in to make an element balance. Usually an atom contributes one electrons but atoms can react to make multiple covalent bonds. So it does not mean that it can only produce one bond, but also it can produce double band or triple band. So now let's have an example. We have here a bond between two fluorine. Okay, since fluorine is non-metal, the other fluorine is also non-metal. So each fluorine atom has 7 electrons in the outer shell. Why is that? It has 7 electrons in the outer shell because it belongs to what group? Group 7. So each atom needs to achieve a full outer shell of 8. So according to octet rule, we need 8 valence electrons in order for an element to be satisfied or to be balanced. So between two fluorine, how many electrons is needed to become balanced or to fulfill the octet rule? It is only one element. So for that one, they can each contribute one electron to a covalent bond. So what will two fluorines will do is that they will share one electrons to each other. So sharing electrons means both atoms can now have a full outer shell and a simple covalent molecule is made. So just always remember a covalent molecule is between two nonmetals. Let's have another example. So let's have an example for water. Water is made of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen, H2O. Oxygen has 6 electrons in its outer shell because it belongs to group 6 and needs to achieve 8 to make a full outer shell. Each hydrogen has 1 electron and needs to achieve 2 to have a full shell. I already discussed this one that for hydrogen it has a special case, which is it only needs 2 electrons in order for it to become balanced. So two covalent bonds can be formed to make a simple covalent water molecule. So what will the elements will do is that they will share their electrons. The two hydrogen each will contribute 1 electron to the oxygen so that the oxygen will become balanced and be satisfied. At the same time, they themselves will make themselves balance. So that is a very simple example about covalent bond. Let's have another example. Let's say we have hydrogen fluoride. So fluorine has 7 electrons in its outer shell and needs to achieve 8 to have a full outer shell. Hydrogen has 1 electron and this electron is in the first shell. Hydrogen needs to achieve 2 electrons to have a full shell. So, the simple covalent molecule of hydrogen fluoride is made by sharing electrons. So, fluorine, we already know that fluorine is a nonmetal as well as hydrogen is a nonmetal. And then hydrogen needs 2 electrons in order for it to become balanced or to have a full shell. On the other hand, fluorine needs 1 electron. So, what they are going to do is that they will need or they will share electrons with each other in order for themselves to have a full shell or to make themselves balance. So let's talk about properties. Can covalent substances produce electricity, conduct electricity? The answer is simple covalent substances cannot conduct electricity. Okay? They cannot conduct electricity. On the other hand, ionic bonding or ionic substances can form electricity or can conduct electricity. Why is that, ma'am? Covalent substances cannot conduct electricity. This is because charged particles and free movement are required for electrical conduction to occur. Covalent bonds are fixed and the electrons cannot move. Okay, Nano? What is the reason? Covalent bonds are fixed and the electrons cannot move. On the other hand, also, let's imagine non-metal and then another non-metal element combined with each other. It is very obvious then when it is not a metal, it is not a good conductor of electricity. So, non-metal plus non-metal, we should not expect to conduct electricity. So now let's tackle about its melting point. Covalent bonds are very strong, but there are weak intermolecular forces between molecules, which do not require a lot of thermal energy to be overcome. So this means that simple covalent substances have low melting points and are often liquid or gas at room temperature. Okay, always remember weak melting point or does not have a high melting point. So that's the end for our covalent bonding discussion. Thank you so much everyone and have a great day. Amping kitang tanan.